Greetings, fellow nerds. It's your old friend. Not the old friend Darkness, Simon and Garfunkel we're talking about. Nah, it's me, Alex. The new HBO series Watchmen is all wrapped up, and this show shocked the hell out of me. I was in no way prepared for the way this show made me feel. I can say without an ounce of hyperbole, that's a hard word to say. Honestly, I've never seen a show like this before, and I got some thoughts, so crack open a bottle of whiskey and let's talk about it. But first, a prelude. In the year of our Lord, 1986, a group of visionary Brits created one of the most influential works of literature ever made. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a fucking nerd. A lot of smart people feel this way. I'm not gonna get too much into the graphic novel because that's just too much to explain. I got like other shit to do. Very basically, it's an alternate universe where superheroes are real, but they're outlawed. Think The Incredibles, but with swearing and assassinations and more erectile dysfunction than you think. So it being a popular comic book property, and a good one for that matter, it was only a matter of time before someone made a movie out of it. Despite the fact that Watchmen's most visible creator, Alan Moore, has stated time and time again that it's an impossible property to adapt to film. Alan Moore may be a magical genius, but he's wrong. Yes, some people have tried to adapt his work and it was fucking bad. But I think that talented people who love and understand the source material of any work can adapt it in a satisfying manner. Take two network TV shows, The Flash and Gotham. Now, I'd argue that neither one of these shows are very good, but one of them is clearly better. Gotham.
That show is garbage. It's
Gotham is fucking terrible. I think it's mostly because it's nothing like the source material. One thing Flash excels at is being a faithful adaptation of the comic. Sure, they change a lot of shit and the writing isn't great all the time, but all the important character stuff is still there, and they know what makes the readers and the audiences fall in love with the Flash in the first place. For a while, I felt the same way as Alan Moore did, at least about Watchmen. Not that it's so amazing that it can't be touched or anything like that. Zack Snyder's 2009 adaptation was pretty good, but it took out all the weird shit that gave you that Watchmen feel. That being said, when HBO announced they were making a Watchmen TV show, I was like, nah, I'm good on that. But then I watched the first scene of the first episode and realized these guys were doing something special. I'm going to talk about the things I liked about the show first, and then I'm going to talk very briefly about the things I hated, because the things I didn't like is actually a very short list. Alright, let's get into the good stuff. The world building for this show is insanely well done, and there's a lot of world building to do. From the beginning, they do a great job of letting you know what the status quo is of this alternate reality and how it's all about to get flipped upside down. There's decades of backstory to catch people up on, and this show does it artfully. I feel like Watchmen makes it where you don't have to read the source material to enjoy it. It helps, but it's not essential. You don't need to know all the backstory of Westeros and Valyria and the Andals before you watch the first episode of Game of Thrones. It helps and it adds to the viewing experience, but if you don't know all that stuff, it doesn't leave you in the dark. The writers don't patronize the audience. The story keeps moving along and they just expect you to keep up or meet them at the finish line. You find out about all the important stuff, but it doesn't slow the pace of the story just so they can sit you down and explain shit to you. Watchmen also does a good job of juggling a lot of different messages. Thematically, it's very dense, which makes rewatches that much more enjoyable. This show's got a lot of shit to say. And it's also trying to be a good TV show, and it does a marvelous job of walking and chewing its gum at the same time. This show is also really fucking weird. This show was so hard for me to recommend to other people at first because it's not like a regular show. There's so many odd, off-putting moments peppered throughout a pretty basic whodunit story, which makes it all feel fresh, yet similar to the original Watchmen. It's stuff that I love, but I can see how other people could be like, what the fuck is this shit? So real quick, I'm going to wrap off a few of my favorite moments from this season, so there are going to be a bunch of spoilers ahead. Number 1, American Hero Story. The show within a show is a fantastic touch. It feels like a mixture of Zack Snyder and Ryan Murphy, and I love it. Number 2, all of episode 6, aka Flashback Crazy Times. This whole episode was goddamn crazy, and it might be the best, most ambitious episode of television I've ever seen. Things like this make it strange and wildly original, and also depressing as shit. Number 3, Regina King. That's it, Regina King. You know Regina King is amazing. Go ahead and give her the Emmy. What's up with them Golden Globes, though? And finally, Tulsa 1921. In an interview with writer and journalist Mark Bernardin, showrunner David Lindelof discussed what made him decide to put the tragedy of Tulsa in the show.
I feel compelled to tell everyone that I know about this thing that happened, and I would start saying to people just in dinner conversations or, hey, have you ever heard about Black Wall Street? And people would be like, no. And then I would start talking and I would see their eyes kind of glaze over. Not because they were bored, but because I think it was too much to take in. And I was like, I've got to find a way to like Trojan horse this story into something where people have to see it.
I've known about Black Wall Street in the devastating way that it ended for a while now, but I never thought that this would make its way into a movie or a TV show. Considering how bad David wanted to tell everyone about this tragedy, I'm glad Tulsa isn't in the show just to be in the show. It's not what the whole show is about, but it's an integral part of the overarching story. This show is damn near perfect. I loved almost every aspect of it. But now that I'm done gushing about what I liked about the show, I'm gonna talk about what I hated. Like I said, it's a short list. There's actually only one thing I didn't like about the show. Jeremy Irons' fucking accent. Jeremy Irons is a great actor, but I have no idea what the fuck is up with his accent in this show. He's doing some great acting and he's clearly having a ball in all these strange vignettes, but his accent is so fucking hard to listen to. In the comic, Adrian Veidt is an American with German immigrant parents. And this accent, I don't know what the fuck, what is this?
Are you ready to venture into the great beyond? We loaded, Mr. Phillips? Yes. On my mark, Mr. Kartz.
What is happening? Show me a place where people talk like this. Show me. Is this Southern? Is this British? I have no idea. But I still love the show. I love you too, Jeremy. You're a Hall of Famer. Shout outs to Simon Gruber. I loved HBO's Watchmen, obviously. It's good, but it also just feels like the comic. This isn't a retelling of the Watchmen story, but watching this feels like reading the book. In this era of reboots, sequels, and a general lack of originality in movies and TV, it's refreshing to see a piece of art that's both nostalgic and wholly unique. Shows like this don't come around that often, so do yourself a favor and get obsessed with it. Okay, nerds, that's it for this review. But if you have any movies or TV shows you want us to review, let us know. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that stuff so you can get updates on new videos. I know you were planning on doing it earlier, but you forgot, but I got you. It's no problem. Take it easy, guys, and may the force be with you.